And now for our feature presentation.
Hello. I would like to tell you a story.
As the last of the sunlight disappeared behind the mountains, Sarah found herself alone in the middle of the dense forest. She had taken a wrong turn, and now the path ahead was shrouded in darkness. She tried to calm her racing heart and remember the survival skills her father had taught her, but fear had taken hold of her. Just as she was about to turn back and retrace her steps, she heard a sound that chilled her to the bone. It was a low growl, unlike any animal she had ever heard. Her mind raced, wondering if it could be a bear or some other dangerous predator. She slowly began to back away when she caught sight of a pair of glowing eyes staring at her from the darkness. They were unlike any animal's eyes she had ever seen. They seemed almost human-like in their intelligence. Sarah's heart sank as she realized she was not alone in the woods. She tried to run, but her legs felt heavy and unresponsive. The growling got louder, and the eyes seemed to be moving closer and closer. She suddenly stumbled and fell to the ground, and as she looked up, she saw the creature emerge from the shadows. It was a tall, thin figure with unnaturally long arms and fingers that ended in sharp claws. Sarah tried to scream, but the creature was too quick. It reached out and grabbed her by the neck, lifting her off the ground effortlessly. She struggled and kicked, but it was no use. As Sarah's struggles grew weaker, she felt the creature's grip on her neck tighten. She gasped for air, desperately trying to hold on to life, but it seemed futile. The creature's eyes bore into hers, filled with a strange intelligence that chilled her to the bone. She wondered if it was capable of feeling any kind of emotion, or if it was simply a cold, calculating predator. But just as she was about to lose consciousness, something strange happened. The creature's grip on her neck relaxed, and it took a step back. Sarah fell to the ground, gasping for air, her heart racing with confusion and terror. The creature looked at her for a moment longer, and then it turned and disappeared back into the darkness of the forest. Sarah lay there for a few moments, too afraid to move, too afraid to even breathe. Finally, she gathered the strength to sit up and look around. The forest was still and quiet, as if nothing had happened. She wondered if it had all been a nightmare, a trick of her imagination. But she knew deep down that it was all too real. Sarah slowly got to her feet, her legs shaky and weak. She started walking, not sure where she was going or what she was looking for. But as she walked, she began to notice something strange. The trees around her seemed to be changing, morphing into twisted, grotesque shapes that were not of this world. The ground beneath her feet felt like it was alive, pulsing with a strange energy. She realized that she was no longer in the forest she knew, but in a place far darker and more sinister. As she walked deeper into this otherworldly forest, Sarah heard a faint whisper in her ear. At first, she couldn't make out the words, but they grew louder and more insistent. "Come with us," the whisper said. At first, Sarah tried to ignore the whispers, telling herself that it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. But the more she walked, the louder they grew, and the more she felt compelled to follow them. It was as if they were leading her somewhere, and she couldn't resist their pull. She walked for what seemed like hours, the forest growing darker and more twisted with every step. She saw strange, twisted creatures lurking in the shadows, their eyes filled with malice and hunger. But still, she could not stop herself from following the whispers. Finally, she came to a clearing, and there in the center stood a tall black monolith. It seemed to pulse with dark energy, and Sarah could feel its power emanating from it. She knew then that this was what the whispers had been leading her to. As she approached the monolith, she saw that there were strange symbols etched into its surface, symbols that she couldn't understand. But as she drew closer, she felt a strange sense of recognition, as if the symbols were somehow familiar to her. Without warning, a gust of wind blew through the clearing, sending Sarah stumbling back. When she regained her balance and looked up, she saw that the monolith had changed. It was no longer black, but pulsating with a sickly green light. The symbols on its surface seemed to be moving, rearranging themselves into patterns that Sarah could almost make out. She felt a sudden surge of terror, realizing that she was in the presence of something ancient and powerful, something that no human was meant to see. She turned to run, but it was too late. The monolith's power had taken hold of her, and she was unable to move. She felt herself being lifted off the ground, her body surrounded by the sickly green light. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it was over. Sarah found herself back in the real world, lying on the ground in the middle of the forest. She had no memory of how she had gotten there, or what had happened to her. But she knew one thing for sure. She had encountered something beyond her understanding, something that could not be explained by science or reason. And as she looked up at the stars above, she knew that she would never be the same again. Hey everyone, Migs here, and I really hope you enjoyed today's story that was completely written by ChatGPT. Now, I for one enjoyed the hell out of this, and considering that, I think I want to keep this ball rolling and see what else AI could give me when it comes to a really good horror story. You know, something new, something exciting, and something that could be even published maybe? I don't know. I don't know what the laws or the ramifications are around that. But anyways, I digress. This will be a new series, so stay tuned for the next story. And also give me suggestions that maybe I could take and feed to the AI gods, and hopefully we can all create something amazing. All right. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, please do not forget to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing as well as ring the bell so that you are notified for the next video. And that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you all so much again for watching. My name is MigsXL, and I will see you in the next video.